Good afternoon, students. In our previous class, we talked about the homophones. We established that homophones are words that sound alike, but the difference is in the spelling and in the meaning. We also mentioned that homophones cause about 70% of errors in our essay writing. And the essence of bringing out the homophones was to enlighten the students on how to use the context to determine which word is needed at a particular time. We mentioned that this problem can be avoided when one critically adheres to the context he or she is writing about. When you understand which word is needed there, you are not bound to make any mistake. The words, remember, sound alike, but the difference is in the spelling and the meaning. So away from that, today we are going to talk about the preposition. It is common knowledge that sometimes in your SS1, the preposition came as one of the topics. And today it has repeated itself. So what this means is it's going to be a revision for you. We are going to see what prepositions are. We are going to see the types of prepositions we have. We are going to see the functions they perform. And we are going to see also the errors that candidates always make or often make when they are using prepositions in speech and writing. So let's begin, and I pray that you follow the lesson as it is presented. I invite you to come with your writing materials, your new concept English, so we can make reference to many a page in that text. Simply put, a preposition is a word that shows the relationship between a noun and other words in the sentence. The key concept, the key word to understand there is the relationship. Prepositions are used to show relationship between a noun and its object in the sentence. This preposition can be used to show the relationship between a noun or pronoun. In other words, it is a word that is used before a noun or pronoun to show place, show position, to show time, and to show direction. As some of the examples we are going to use in the presentation would show, it would buttress what we have established as the definition or the meaning of preposition. Now on the slide on your screen, you see the example there. The book is on the table. The preposition is the one written in red. On is the preposition. And it shows the relationship between the book and the table. The book is on the table. On relates the book to the table. So it has justified what we have just said. The prepositions show relationship between nouns and other words in the sentence. Sometimes we use prepositions in our speech and we may not know that the words we are actually using are prepositions. So this slide the slide that is displayed currently on the screen would help us by highlighting some of the commonly used prepositions. You can see we have not exhausted all the prepositions we've got in English language, but we have mentioned a few. So I want you to go through them and know that there are prepositions. Some prepositions are simple, some are complex. Simple in the sense that they are made up of just one word. Complex because they are made up of more than one word. Some of them are in addition to, on board, because of, according to, aside from, out of. Those are some of the examples of the complex prepositions. But some simple prepositions include about, above, against, at, below, for, from, of, in, on, If I ask you to add other examples, you would readily do that. So I want you to write many other examples in your notes other than the ones displayed on the screen. Now let's proceed to the types of prepositions. What are the types of prepositions we've got? The first one is the preposition of time. Some prepositions show time. Some prepositions show place or location. Some prepositions show direction, while some are agentive. Some show agents. So we have the 4 types displayed on the screen for you. Preposition of time, that's number 1. Preposition of place or location, that's number 2. Preposition of direction, that's number 3. And the preposition of agent, that's number 4. I am going to say very briefly about the preposition of time. You are going to find out what prepositions of place are, what prepositions of direction are, and what prepositions of agent are. And you're going to use them in sentences to show that you have properly understood what you have researched on. Now, some prepositions of time include for, since, on, and at. Understand that for is used in sentences to show a period of time. For is used to show a period of time, while since is used to show a point in time. And I'm going to use some sentences to illustrate that. Somebody says, "We have been living in this house for 10 years." We have been living in this house for 10 years. For is the preposition there, and that preposition shows time. And what follows for is 10 years. 10 years is a period of time. The second example says, "We have been living in this house for longer than I can remember." We have been living in this house for longer than I can remember. For is the preposition of time. Then longer than I can remember is a period of time. Do not forget that for is followed by a period of time, or for is used to show a period of time. But since is used to show a point in time. Now let's have examples C and D illustrated. We have been living in this house since 2010. Now refer to the first example. For 10 years, from 2010 to 2020 gives us the span of 10 years. So you see that I have used since in example C, and what I have used after it is a point in time. 2010 is a point in time, but 10 years is a period of time. In, as a preposition of time, is used with periods of time. In the morning, for example, in the afternoon, in the evening. It is used to show the period of time. Then on the other hand, is used with the days of weeks, dates, and specific days. How are we going to show that in examples? Take examples A, B, and C. The library will be closed in May. The library will be closed in May. We went to the party on Saturday. Saturday is one of the days we have in the week. She was married on her birthday. Birthday is someone's specific day. So I have used on and in to show period of time, days of the week, and specific day. Now the next preposition of time is at. You can use at with the exact point of time. Whenever you want to show the exact point in time something happened, the exact time something happens, you would use at with it. And you can also use at to show some festivals we have in Nigeria or the world at large. Someone says the plane took off at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. is the exact time the plane took off. So I wouldn't say the plane took off by 7 a.m. Since I am talking about the exact time, I would use the preposition at with it. Another person can say, she visited at Ramadan. She visited at midnight, she visited at midday, or at dawn. So I'm using those periods of time, those points of time with art to illustrate that art can be used at exact points of time and with some festivals we have in the world or in the country. Now let's proceed to the errors in the usage of prepositions. What are the mistakes that candidates often make when they're using prepositions in their speech or in their writing? I have pinpointed 3 errors that are very common, and what you need to do is to mark these errors and avoid them when you're speaking and when you are writing. The first one is the wrong use of preposition. It is very common that some students, some candidates would rather use the wrong preposition instead of the right preposition. And what always happens is that the wrong ones they use would appear or would sound correct to them. But the truth of the matter is, it is actually the wrong one. Now let's have some examples as displayed on the screen for you. The meeting started by 2 p.m. I would write that, I would say that, but that's not the right thing to say because I am talking about a particular point in time, an exact time. So I would rather say the meeting started at 2 p.m. Understand that the prepositions in bracket are the correct prepositions, while the ones colored red are the wrong prepositions. So substitute the ones in bracket for the ones in red color. The second example says, the robber was shot on the leg as he tried to escape. It is true that the robber may have been shot. It is true that the part of the body aimed at was the leg. But the wrong preposition used there is on. The robber was not shot on the leg. The robber was shot in the leg. So what you need to do is the one in bracket would be the correct preposition to use, not the one in the color red. Example C. We waited until the boss arrived, but he was not in it. Very common. Persons these days use the preposition in when we are talking about someone who boarded a bus or something. Now the point or the truth of the matter is, insofar as that device is capable of containing you and you can make, say, a 1, 2, or 3 states, you are not in it, you are rather on it. You are on a plane, you are not in a plane. You are on a bus, you are not in a bus, but you are in a car. You're not on a car, you are in a car. The point there is, there is no way you're going to walk inside, but if you had to board the back seat, you would have to make some 1, 2, 3 steps before you get to the back seat. So you are walking actually on it. That's the idea. That's a little secret there. So in a car, you just open the door and you hop in. You're not walking anywhere. So you are in a car while you are on a bus or you are on a plane. So the correct preposition to use with it is on. Example D. The quarrel resulted into a fight. I've heard 70% of persons use that. The quarrel resulted into a fight. Yes, we may have quarreled. Yes, we may have fought in the process. But the quarrel did not result into a fight. It rather resulted in a fight. So the correct preposition there is in, while the wrong one, into, is displayed on the screen for you in red color. Error number 2. The redundant insertion of preposition. The word redundant means using a preposition where it is not needed. Redundant means you use a preposition where the preposition is not needed. Now let's have 4 examples also to illustrate our claim. I was contemplating on what to do next when he arrived. Yes, you may have thought about something, the next step to take. You may have wondered what you're going to do next. But that word contemplating is not a prepositional verb. What I mean is that it does not need a preposition to accompany it. So if you have decided to use a preposition with the word contemplating, then you have redundantly inserted a preposition where it is not needed. So how are you going to, troubleshoot that? You would rather say, I was contemplating what to do next when he arrived. On is not needed in that sentence. So if you decide to bring on in, you have inserted it where it is not needed. The second example, Our village has been denied of its fair share of social amenities. Our village has been denied of its fair share of social amenities. Yes, we may have, the government may have shared some amenities to local government of villages and your village was not included. Yes, that village of yours has been denied its fair share of social amenities, not denied of. Remember that the verbs here are not prepositional verbs, and as such, they do not need any preposition to accompany it. So if anybody decides to use a preposition with them, then the person has redundantly inserted a preposition where a preposition is not needed. So the correct thing to say is our village has been denied its fair share of social amenities. Sample C, we requested for more information. We requested for more information. For is not needed there. What you would rather say is we requested more information. The same applies to example D. He is advocating a two-party system. He is advocating a two-party system. He is not advocating for a two-party system. He's rather advocating a two-party system. Error number 3. Omission of preposition. Here, a preposition is needed, but because of carelessness or because we do not know, we have decided to omit a preposition where it is needed. And as human nature is, where a preposition is needed, we will not include it. But where a preposition is not needed, that's where we insert preposition, thereby committing or falling prey to error number 2 and falling prey to error number 3 at the same time. So insert preposition where it is needed and omit it where it is not needed. Now let's have 3 examples to illustrate what we are talking about. They did not reply our later. On a very good day, you would hear many a person say that. They did not reply our later. You have decided to omit the preposition to. They did not reply to our later. Example B. The president arrived at the airport Tuesday morning. The president arrived at the airport Tuesday morning. You have omitted 2 prepositions in that sentence. The president arrived at the airport on Tuesday morning. The president arrived at the airport on Tuesday morning. So the omitted prepositions are included in brackets for you at the end of the sentence. C. We reached there exactly 4 o'clock. That is someone making a statement. We reached there exactly 4 o'clock. Yes, you reached there at that time. But since you're talking about a point in time, when you're talking about exact time, you use the preposition at with that time. So we reached there at exactly 4 o'clock will not be bad. So the preposition at is included in brackets for you at the end of that sentence. So we have talked about 3 errors in the usage of preposition. Number 1, using the wrong preposition. Number 2, redundantly inserting prepositions where it is not needed. And number 3, omitting prepositions where it is needed. Now, having said all these things, it is time to engage you in a drill. Let's see how you've understood what we have said. And that's why the assignment has been displayed on the screen for you. You have 3 questions, and you're expected to answer all of them. With 3 sentences, or with sentence example rather, write short note on the prepositions of please, direction, and agent. If you refer to the slide talking about the types of prepositions, you would see 4 of them. Preposition of time, preposition of please, preposition of direction, and that of agent. And I have talked about 1. I want to engage you with the other 3. Find out which ones are the preposition of please or location, which ones are the ones that show direction, which ones are the ones that show agent. Write sentences with them or make short notes on them and use sentential examples. Number 2, what are modifiers in English? What do you think modifiers are in English? B. Give 10 examples of modifiers. And number 3, you have been invited to deliver a speech on the topic ethnic clashes in Nigeria today, causes and solution. Write your speech on that topic. The topic is italicized and is in red. Ensure that the correct prepositions are used in that essay of yours. So in a nutshell, we have talked about prepositions today. We have said that prepositions are words that show relationship between nouns and other words in the sentence. In other words, there are words that are used before nouns or pronouns to show place, position, time, and direction. And we have mentioned some examples of commonly used prepositions. Some of them are simple and other ones are complex. We have talked about the types of preposition. We've mentioned 4 of them: preposition of time, place, direction, or agent. And we've established that for as a preposition of time is used with a period of time or to show a period of time. And since is used to show a point in time. We have said also that on is used with days of the week, dates, and specific days. I traveled on the 21st of May 2020. 21st of May 2020 is a date, and that I have used on with it. The library would be closed in May. She was married on her birthday. Those are examples of on used with days of the weeks and specific days. We have said also that at as a preposition of time can be used or is used with exact point in time and with some festivals we have in the country and in the world at large. Then we have talked also about the errors in the usage of prepositions. We have mentioned 3 errors, and you must mark and avoid these errors. Number 1 is using the wrong prepositions. Some examples are displayed on the screen for you. Number 2 is the redundant insertion of prepositions. And number 3 is the omission of preposition. So as you go through this lesson, if you have any comments, if you have questions to ask, please forward them through the channel the school has created for you, and I'll be right there waiting to answer all your questions as they come. Ensure that the assignments displayed on this screen now is worked out by each and every one of you, and you would have to submit it when the time is right. So I'm looking forward to answering your questions as you send them. Thank you very much for watching this video.